Daydream Believers with L and L.
Hey.
Elle, how the hell are ya?
I'm well.
You're swell. No,
Swell.
not swell.
Swell. I used to say swell all the time, actually.
Is that why I said swell?
Maybe. No, I used to say you're swell all the time in general in life.
You're swole. Like
swell.
swollen.
Swell.
I feel like swell sounds nice, but it makes me think of swollen.
Really? Oh, yes,
Yeah,
swell. Like I've
it's like I've swelled.
Nah, I like swell.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, I'm swell. Yes.
Well, are you swell?
I'm swell indeed.
That's good.
I am swell. I actually feel in a very, just a loosey-goosey mood today, in a nice mood.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, I'm loving it.
Yeah,
I'm loving it.
You are what the Tin Man aspires to be, right? A loosey-goosey?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. What have you been up to?
I've actually had a lot of Disney songs stuck in my head lately.
Ooh, like which?
Like from Mulan.
Ooh.
Yeah, underrated.
Underrated
those Disney
indeed.
songs. You know, Make a Man Out of You. That one, that's a good one.
That's a big song.
That's a really good one.
I feel like that's one of the ones that people go to all the time. Like it's like,
Do they though?
Yeah, I
feel like
always
it's
have
not
that in convo.
spoken about enough.
No, not nearly enough as it should be. Like it's no
Yeah.
Under the Sea, but at the
Yeah.
same time, it's like if someone mentions like their top favorites, usually it's in there.
Right.
To at least me, maybe
Yeah.
my small select group of you.
I feel like I haven't realized how good that song is, like only the last maybe 1 or 2 years. Because I put it on my son's playlist. And we listen to it in the car.
Very nice. I see why you have the song stuck in your head
Yes,
now.
well, I listen to it every morning.
Yes.
Okay. No, it's a great song, and I've had that in my head a lot. And the other song that's from Mulan, that's amazing. Like the "What do we want? A girl worth fighting for."
Oh, that part there, I remember. Like, oh.
Yeah, and you got the guy that talks like this. You know.
They have good voices in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great voices in that movie.
I do like
Yeah,
them.
I mean Eddie Murphy's in that movie.
I know, that's why I said good voices.
Yeah,
I was thinking of his.
I feel like kind of, I don't want to say wasted role. Like I feel like Mushu, who is who he plays, didn't get like the praise that Mushu should have gotten. Like comparing it to say like Genie.
I knew you were going to
Robin
compare it to
Williams.
Genie,
You know what I mean? Like Robin Williams created this thing where you start to get more recognized celebrities in.
Yeah.
Right? Comedians, you know, to bring him in. I feel like Eddie Murphy coming in and doing that should have gotten like at least similar praise, but it kind of fell flat.
Yeah, I guess I wonder what it was like actually in the time of it, because I guess
Yeah,
we were
that's true.
only small.
Well, I don't know if Mulan was part of like the Renaissance era. They call that era where Lion King came out, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin. They call it like the Renaissance era because Disney was going through like a really flat, very flat stage, like when it came to their movies. And then the Lion King kind of,
Lion King is...
yeah, like just, yeah, I think Beauty and the Beast came out first. I don't know. But yeah, it just kind of set off this like, this boom in the 90s where all these amazing films came out. But I feel like Mulan is not up there like as it should be.
I feel like it's I think for those who are true Disney fans, it's very up there.
Yeah, for sure.
For those who just like casually watch movies as a child and didn't care as much as we cared, I think for those kids, it was like a side piece to the to the Cinderellas and the Sleeping Beauties and Swan Princesses.
Yeah, but even more so just like Aladdin and Lion King. Like they kind of...
Oh, yeah, compared to even just those, Aladdin and Lion King are like...
Yeah, it's top tier.
Yeah.
You can't deny that, guys.
Yeah.
It is.
I think it's also like the way... the meaning behind the movie as well. They're not so different. They're not so different, but they're not so different. But at the same time, there's a lightness still to Aladdin and a lightness still to Lion King in some ways. There's like still like hee. I don't feel that as much when I watch Mulan. I feel like Mulan, I'm watching it as a child. When I was watching it as a child, I'm like, I need something serious. Like,
wow, yeah. I guess I never thought of it that way.
yeah.
I guess it is obviously a much heavier topic. Many people die in that movie.
Dude, kids' movies in general, there is so much. Like now looking back, I'm like, woof, no wonder us millennials are so like always like conflicted with our childhood because like the trauma we all face is so we're forever lingering because like, dude, watching Mufasa die was
Yeah, that's
it
rough.
destroyed me as a kid.
Yeah, that is rough. Although I don't feel like I comprehended it until a bit later. You know?
Yeah.
Like I don't think it even impacted me until I was an adult.
Really?
Yeah, because I found that when my son was going through his phase of wanting to watch The Lion King all the time, I found that I cried so much watching it now as an adult. Maybe because I understand things a bit better, like, you know, you're watching it as from an adult perspective. But I remember feeling like, yeah, sad as a kid, but it really hits me now as an adult when I watch that, especially even the parts that I wouldn't expect to hit me. When Simba is walking up Pride Rock again to take his place as king, I cry. Like, and I don't even know what it is that's actually getting me to that point, whether it's the music that's...
It's a good score.
Like, it's a fucking amazing score. Obviously, I think the score has a lot to do with it because... when I hear it, especially that particular part, it makes me cry. But watching him climb up the rock to like accept his fate of who he should be and who he actually is. Like, as much as he can try and run away from being a king, it's who he is. It's his blood. Watching him walk up that Pride Rock is like, wow, like he did it. Yeah, and that makes me cry.
Yeah, because it's sort of like that redemption / like it's a weird connection to Mufasa, and why it means so much is because we watched the terror,
the terror of Mufasa. Yeah, I guess so.
It's like all round. It's like it all concludes to itself of like this has meaning, it has purpose of him standing up on there.
Yeah, for sure. But I think as an adult, I find the journey that Simba takes after Mufasa dies like more to heart.
Yeah.
Than what I would have back then.
I think as well, same, because now looking back on it now, I'm like, oh, like that phase of Simba leaving, and I can, back then I remember as a kid thinking, oh, he's sad and he feels like it's his fault, like it's that, like I comprehended that. But now as an adult and having your own traumas and your own mistakes in life or your own things, you watch it and you're like, wow, I've been in a place where I felt like that, where I just wanted to escape and run away and leave that life behind.
Yeah.
I've been to a phase where I've like, someone's trying to pull me back into something I don't want to be into, but like I know my heart is actually still there. I'm just self-sabotaging myself right now.
For sure.
And I think that there's so many themes that are way more relatable because you yourself have now experienced that feeling.
Just to highlight what you said before, like he feels like the death of Mufasa was his fault.
Yeah.
When he sees him in the sky and he talks to Rafiki, I can only imagine. It sounds so deep because we're talking about the Lion King.
The Lion King
but
is deep.
It is. But just him hearing the words that Simba says and thinking about how his inner child is in so much pain as he says it, it's like far out. It's like it hurts so much more watching it and knowing what his mind is actually going through. And even watching it as a parent, right? Like from Mufasa's point of view now, he's obviously watching Simba have these like really complex thoughts and how he feels like everything is his fault. Like it hurts so much to think that your child is thinking that. And that hurts as well.
Yeah,
like
I can
that
imagine.
really hurts. So, yeah, I think The Lion King has brought up really complex feelings now when I watch it.
I just love that about movies sometimes. Like, you can rewatch something. It's the same as a song, right?
Yes.
But you can listen to something over and over again. You can watch something over and over again. But depending on which stage of life you're at and what you've experienced in your life, you see it in a totally different way and you relate to it you get to rediscover your relation to it over and over again.
Yeah.
The more as you grow with it.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true.
It's actually a very special part of, for me, I think that's why I connect with songs so much and movies so much, is because it like is always with me throughout reflections of life.
Yeah, for sure. And it's such a great way of helping you realize things.
Yeah.
Helping you understand like ideas better and what, you know, the human mind can go through or... It's, God, I love movies, man.
Yeah, I find that it's such a talent. Like, like, I'm sure that the people that directed the movie and created The Lion King, they had all this in mind, hopefully. But if they didn't, what a gem.
No, I honestly believe that when someone's making, like, creating a song, making a movie, every single decision, especially with something like a movie, the smallest things require a decision.
Yeah.
So every single minor detail that goes into a movie was calculated and thought about and intentional. So I really believe that the people who wrote the script for The Lion King, who did the graphics for it, Hans Zimmer with the score, had all of that in mind, which is why it really tickles that, you know, that your heart.
Yeah, and what you said about the inner child thing, I've never considered it in that way, like never said it to myself in that way before, but it really is a story about, like, even as he grows, his inner child is always still there.
Yeah, I mean, like,
so present.
That's why he has that fear for his whole life, so scared of returning. And once he accepts his fate that he has to return, it's like that young Simba is finally being able to be a free lion again.
Oh, I kind of want to cry.
Oh, Simba!
This is why I'll never understand people that don't like The Lion King.
Oh my god! People like that cannot exist.
Nope. I have a friend.
Don't tell me. Really? Someone does not like The Lion King?
It's someone you know.
Stop it!
Yeah. I don't even know.
Someone I respect?
Yes.
God damn it, who?
I know that millennials get a bad rap for, like, our obsession with Disney, but there's a reason.
There's a reason, man. They, like...
It traumatizes us kids, and that's why we can't get away from it, because it then shows us how that trauma affects you throughout life.
We feel so much, and we understand people way more than anyone else.
I would like to think
Although
so.
I actually saw a TikTok the other day saying that millennials are cool because we have figured out, like, our emotions way better than, like, what Gen Z have. And this was a Gen Z person.
I was going to sound like it was a millennial.
This is a Gen Z person saying, like, the Gen Z people are just, like, in the way annoying. We're just, like, they don't care as much as, like, I don't know. I'm so 100% misquoting this TikTok, but she actually said millennials are cool because we have our shit figured out a little bit more than any other generation.
I hope so. At least us young millennials. I believe our young millennials. Yes,
I think so.
Yeah, I do really like being on that cuspy, the young millennial style, because I feel like we got the best of both worlds in so many ways.
That's very true.
Within, like, society, electronics, like,
yeah, it's fucking true.
Movies, TV.
We were the last ones to have, like, a real childhood.
Yeah.
Without, you know, computers and phones.
Yes. Us mid-90s babies.
Oh, good times. Oh, far out.
I know. Have you ever watched those videos of, like, you wake up to, like, it's like you just woke up, like everything was just a dream, and, like, you walk downstairs and you're watching Cheese TV. Yeah.
Oh my God, it has that sound of kids, like, playing.
Yeah, and random birds chirping, because it's, like, the same as, like, it's like summer 2002. Like,
I hear that sound on TikTok of the kids playing, and it's like, and they're playing, like, echoes. It's like, and the birds are chirping, and it's got this, like, really nice, beautiful piano bit in it. And it actually just makes me want to cry.
Yeah, the nostalgia is overwhelming.
Yeah, it's I feel like throwing up as I'm talking about it, because it's so desperately, I wish I could just for one day go back and live in that moment.
I know, badly.
Like, so badly.
I find it so interesting that, like, I wonder, I guess, like, the, like, people that are in their early 20s right now, they haven't experienced that, I guess, before, but they have their own version of nostalgia, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But, like, I guess for our generation of people, like, it's almost universal. We all feel that way.
Yeah. We're just very nostalgic.
Yeah, we're very nostalgic generation, I think.
Yeah. You know, because I think we're just the first ones to be able to say, you know, the way things are bullshit.
Just like everything sucks.
Everything sucks. Let's go back to when we were kids.
Yeah.
Because no one else just wanted to admit that.
Yeah.
It was better when we were kids. Maybe we had the most fun childhood, though.
I did have a very enjoyable childhood.
Childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Just innocent. It was innocent. That's what it was.
Yeah, it did feel that way.
Playing, happy,
colourful,
colourful. Oh my God, why are we so not colourful anymore?
I know.
I remember when I found out I was pregnant. I was the kind of person that was like, I'm going to dress my son in neutral colours and I want his room to be an aesthetic and And then as soon as he was born and I went through all that shit with COVID and I went so deep into postpartum depression, anything neutral, I had to get it away from me. When it came to my son's childhood, I had to throw it in the bin. He needs color, he needs life, he needs to be a child who wears green and yellow shorts with a blue and red top with gumboots and
flashy
know what? He's got a little bit of like biscuit on the side of his lip. Let the boy live his life through color. The world's too sad. It needs color.
I can imagine that because I feel like, especially going through postpartum and stuff, or just that phase straight afterwards, like if everything's just beige, grey, and you're just whites and blacks, like, don't get me wrong, I love a little neutral aesthetic. However, like, aesthetic isn't everything, and it's true. Like, what you're visually seeing around you impacts your inside feeling.
It's so true. And I remember my bedroom growing up was very colourful. Pink Barbie bed
your bedroom was so cool. She had this like cover for her computer. Was it a beetle?
No, it was a pink fluffy butterfly.
Yeah, butterfly.
Yeah.
Oh, and I remember every time I went to your house, I was like, damn, that's cool.
Yeah. My bedroom walls were yellow. Okay, I had a timber bed. Where are those now? Right, timber beds for kids. Right. I had a timber bed. I had the pinkest Barbie bed sheets going round. I had a colourful mat in there that was like an open plan for a house, right? And I had this pink Barbie couch. My room was as colourful as it got. I like to look back and see the colour in my life. So when I do my son's room, I'm going for the brightest bed sheets. I'm going for the colourful shit. I'm going for the characters that he loves.
Yeah.
You know, have that to be everywhere in his room. He loves Spider-Man, so he's got Spider-Man bed sheets. He's got a million Spider-Man t-shirts. If he wants to wear it, he's wearing it.
You know, the bed sheet comment, it's just triggered something in my brain. I don't know if everyone else has this experience or if it's just me, because obviously we know I'm overly attached to fucking things. Yeah. But bed sheets, right? When you were a kid and you had bed sheets that were like a character or they were just particular bed sheets.
Yeah.
I feel so like emotional when I think about my bed sheets. I had these bed sheets 100%. Of like a little farm. Yeah. Like it was like a farm and there was a little man and it was like little squares everywhere.
Yeah.
And I can just think of having sleepovers with people, and those were the bed sheets that me and my sister had, and just like little memories. I have like photos of me and my cousins like sitting on the bed dressed up and stuff, and like just visualizing that bedroom and that time and sleeping in that bed sheet that made me feel safe. And I loved it when it would change into that bed sheet. Or how one with like seashells. And it's crazy that like you as a parent, maybe you think, oh, they'll enjoy this for this month or this like year that they have these bed sheets.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, for me, like I think of those things and I'm like, I hope I still have them somewhere. I want to like make a giant blanket out of them, like, and put them all together.
Yeah, I agree.
Because they bring so much comfort just thinking about them.
100%. And I, even as a kid, remember if there was particular bed sheets that would go through my cycle, I remember thinking, oh yes, like they were more comfortable. Certain bed sheets that were just more comfortable to me. I had these Winnie the Pooh ones that I had until like I like turned 18. And
I had the same bed sheets for so long,
right? Whenever those were in the current rotation, I'm like, I'm gonna have the best sleeps.
It just changes and it was the colors of my bed sheets, and it was the feeling I got like laying in them and just seeing my room in that way, where like there's nothing I had a single bed as well until I was in my pretty much mid-20s nearly. Yeah. And it wasn't until I couldn't use like those colorful sort of single bed sheets, because you can't really find like adult style single bed sheets really most of the time.
No.
But like moving to a double bed and then having to find like plain white bed sheets, and they look cute, and at the time, like in the like 2016 2017 era, like it was really cool to just have like basic plain everything. But like that feeling went away. I think the thing is because I had a single, like my bedroom still looked like a kid's bedroom for so long that I got in my own head a little bit being like, oh, every time I go to someone else's house, like they look like they have like a proper bedroom.
Yeah.
And they look like they have like all the walls are white and everything looks clean and everything looks like this and tidy. And I'm like, and even when my room is clean, it still doesn't look clean because it's like got wooden stuff everywhere and all this other stuff. And then it wasn't until I made the decision to paint my walls all white in my room where I was like, holy shit, this doesn't feel like my room anymore.
Yeah.
And it never felt like it again since. And it has felt like just bland.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where? Like, and now in my room now, I keep wanting to buy paintings and really pop arty, like colorful paintings or like just to put anything up that like I have a bunch of Rubik's Cubes everywhere.
Yeah.
Just to like feel like that little bit of like color to look at in the middle of like, as like the day when I just like get in my room and I can just be like, oh, okay, there's something that is making me feel a bit of joy to look at.
For sure. I think that's why I like Christmas decorations so much. It's color. It's like life, and Christmas is nostalgic as well.
Yeah.
It has an element of nostalgia to it because of the innocence of a kid believing in Santa, right?
Yeah.
And just like that waking up and opening presents. Like, I think that's why I love Christmas decorations so much. It brings that, like, it's an excuse, right, to have the most colorful things in your house for a month straight. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so true.
And then we're back to neutrals. And then we're back. Once you take your Christmas decorations down, it's fucking depressing because your house is empty.
So true. My tree was
bleak.
so nice. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is. It's an interesting. I feel like it's interesting that we've been capped to think that like things can only be seasonal. Yeah, like
really
joy
doesn't have
is,
to be.
And even I guess this is for a topic for another day, but like even joy is considered seasonal because it's like the season of joys because you can't go around in winter or summer without someone kind of commenting about it. That it feels
like, oh, it's fucking cold today.
Yeah, and I just hate mornings like this when you wake up and it's just raining. Like it's just such a gloomy day. Don't you just feel like shit?
Morning, huh?
I don't even want to leave the house. I don't want to do anything.
Cold. Yeah, that's the
I can't
conversations.
Or I can't wait till summer comes so that way like life gets better. I can't wait.
Weather.
Yeah, we can go do this and this and this when summer comes. And it's even if you're not feeling it, you feel like, oh well, I guess everyone like it convinces you like, yeah, there's no point in me doing anything. There's no point in me like I'll just wait for the next season. Yeah. And it's just it's quite, I just want to keep adding color in life. Honestly, even the podcast, this chair, I know it's an eyesore sometimes. And I know I got it from Marketplace and it probably has things on it that I don't want to ever know about. But, however, it's colorful, reminds me when I was a kid and reminds me of Spy Kids and I like it.
Yeah. And each time you finish an episode, you end up with a different rash.
No, I don't. Joking. I swear I don't. Although I have had a rash under my eye, but it can't be from this.
Well.
Yes.
You know that chair scares my son. Like, he found it very scary.
Terrifying.
Yeah,
to sit in or just look at?
Looking at it.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
Yeah, but he didn't grow up with like thumbs.
Kids. Yeah. No. Yeah, we were definitely what's the word? Like neutralized with weird hand-looking things. Yes.
Yeah, like cousin, like the.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. Thing was
thing. Yeah, I was like, thing, not cousin it. I was like, cousin it.
Cousin it is the one with the long hair.
But even that.
Yeah, true.
Like when you try to be like, yeah, that's normal.
Yeah,
that's what cousin it looks like.
Yeah,
that's kind of like what a Wookiee looks like, or whatever.
A Wookiee?
I don't know what I'm saying anymore.
That's from Sub.
Anyway, what are we talking about this episode?
Fucking hell. You know, before we started recording, we did say let's keep it to 5 minutes. Let's keep it to 5 minutes. Come on. And then we had an idea of what we wanted to talk about, and we did not hit it at all.
Oh no, not at all. At all. But this always happens.
Yeah. We'll save it for another time. All right, we have a really awesome guest for this episode, which I feel like kind of ties into our conversation at the moment now. Anyway.
Yes. It is Jaclyn Pearson from the band Lash, which if you guys do not know, it is an Australian band from Perth that we will do a rendition of their song for you because once you hear it, you'll recognize what movie it's from.
Oh, yeah.
And hit it, Elle.
I want to go on my way.
Hey, take me away. Anyway, so sorry for that butchered version of that.
I pretty much just said, I want to know. That's all I said.
Because I get nervous singing. Like, I know that none of you are here and you can't hear us.
Yeah.
What you can hear us, that's actually what you can see. But, like, I just get, like, I find myself, I'm like, I can never show my true singing voice. I find myself panicked.
That is so true, because we were trying to film the Austin Powers thing.
I couldn't do it.
And you're like, I can't do it. And I'm like, it's just in front of me. And you were like, no, it's going on the internet. I'm like, oh yeah,
there's so many eyes.
Anyway,
yeah, I gotta get over that. But yes, so if you guys do not recognize that song, it is by Lash. It is the main song from Freaky Friday.
Freaky Friday. Hell yeah.
Freaky Friday, the song that Lindsay Lohan herself guitars it up to.
And her mum.
Jamie Lee
Curtis. Who I love, by the way.
I'm a big fan.
She had like the best like 80s sexy body. Like sexy as hell.
I know. What is that movie that she's in? It's leaving my mind, but she like dances near a bed in like a...
with Arnie. Yeah. True Lies.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. Yes. Love that movie.
Love it. Love Lindsay.
She reminds me of like the girls in like Robert Palmer music videos. Like that kind of body.
She does.
You know what I mean?
That, yes.
Love. If there's an aesthetic I love in my life, it's a Robert Palmer chick.
See, if there's an aesthetic I love in my life, it is a girl rock band that's in a garage. And I feel like that's exactly what like...
I feel like that describes us very well.
Yeah. It's exactly like Freaky Friday vibes and exactly like a Lash vibe.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to talk to her all about how that happened.
Yes.
Everything like that. Freaky Friday 2 is obviously coming out as well. So it's pretty cool that we got this interview because like I literally got so excited.
Yeah.
When we found out we were interviewing Jaclyn.
It was amazing. Definitely our inner child, and I'm sure Simba's as well, was very happy about this.
And Simba's, yes.
Poor Simba. We'll be right back with Jaclyn's interview, but before we do, we must ask you a few things. If you could please follow us, that would be nice, on all podcast platforms, whichever you like to use. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and then the socials, blah, 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 blah. You know all those.
Yeah, and if you like what you're listening to, please rate us a 5 out of 5.
Please.
It would mean everything to us.
Somebody please think of the children.
Think of them.
This helps them in some way.
In some kind of way. The new generation of children will listen and learn about the Lion King and the inner childness.
Yes, of course. And understand the Lion King as an adult does and then be depressed for the rest of their life.
Exactly.
There you go. If that isn't justice, I don't know what is.
Yes, justice for the children.
Oh, yes. All right, we'll be right back.
Yes, I got the 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and the 3-year-old just kind of adds to the chaos at the start of the day.
3 is I mean, like, I obviously don't have any knowledge beyond 4, but 3 is a tough age.
I love her. She's cute, but I'm at that stage where I'm like, just come on, let's just get to 4.
Right.
Let's just get to 4.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the same experience with your 5-year-old, but as soon as my son turned 4, he actually just calmed down and was less
tantrummy. That's what happens. Yeah, like they just become like a slightly more human.
Yeah, like an actual person that you can be like, hey, that was a bit crazy, and they're like, yeah, it was.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, so the 3-year-old just has no concept of, still just like, I don't care, whatever. I'm just gonna do what I want. Yeah.
They really do become like little. That's when they become little humans, I reckon.
They
like
do.
What you said, yeah.
They do. You know, they notice a lot more things now, and they comment on it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so we'd love to know everything about you. Please tell us how you got into the industry.
Yeah, how did you all form together?
Yeah, so I was in a band at school. So this is in Perth in Western Australia back in 1990. Gosh, who even knows? 1994.
Yeah.
1993. And I went to boarding school, and I loved music. And so as soon as I saw that there was a drum kit and an old amplifier sitting in the corner, I thought, well, I'm going to muck around with that. And my friends were like, oh, we're going to do that too. So we played in a band for a couple of years. We call ourselves a band. It was more like noise, I would have to say, because none of us knew how to play. I kind of tinkered on the guitar and had tapped on the drums a few times, but we got better, and we started to actually write songs, which is crazy.
Cool.
And my band then was called Aroma.
Oh, I like the name Aroma.
Oh.
And it was just like you'd expect, it was like we were playing Nirvana covers and Guns and
Yes.
Roses, and then we
Oh,
then we
very
got
nice.
into like yeah, then it was a bit more, Velvet Underground, and
Mm.
it was really cool. We had a mix of people in the band who were really fun, and we just loved it. So a couple years after doing that, these young girls started kind of hanging around this music room, and this is in the old part of this Catholic girls' school, right? So it's kind of abandoned, and no one's really over there very much. We
Mm-hmm.
saw these younger girls hanging around and thought not much of it. And we came up one day. We used to come up. We used to go and get our lunch at the boarding school first and come up. So the music room was kind of free for about 15 minutes. And we came in and we could hear this band playing in our music room.
Wow, they took your
And we
spot.
were like, yeah, and we could hear them playing and singing. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, who are these people? So I went in because they were good. And it was these girls that had been hanging around. So these three girls who were in year eight, I think, and I was in the end, it was like the end of year 11 for me. So, much older. And they were in year eight, and they were Michaela, who ended up being Lash's singer and bass player, was on the drums. Jasmine was on the bass, and Jess was on the guitar, and they were really good. So they were, I don't even know what they were playing. I mean, it was probably something similar to what we were playing, but they had already written their own songs. So I was really impressed and I started hanging out with them. And I started playing drums for them so Michaela could sing without being on the drum kit. And they had this song, they had a few songs, but one of them was called Aloha Mr. Hand. And they said,
Oh.
we'd like to enter this song into the WAM song contest, the West Australian
Oh.
Music Song Contest. And we'd like you to play the drums on it. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And so we had this guy who used to train us on a Monday to play in a band. His name was Dave Leslie. We used to call him TBJ, Tight Black Jeans. And he agreed to come and record us. Yeah. He was he was really odd to us then because we were just high school girls and we'd never seen these kind of musos who just wore tight black jeans and desert boots and were
Yeah.
really obviously just been kicking around for ages. So he decided he agreed to record the song. So he set us up in the music room and we tracked the song and laid it down and it was just super fun. So we did that, entered it into the competition, and this was must have been when I was in year 12 and I'd finished my exams and gone back to where I lived, which is way up the top of Western Australia. They entered the song and it won. It won the youth
Oh,
Wow,
category.
wow.
that's
That is
amazing.
amazing.
So these girls by this stage were in year nine. So that's like 13. That some of
Oh
them
my
hadn't even
God.
turned
Oh my God, like
14.
yeah, like 14, 15. That's
I know.
insane.
And
Yeah.
they'd written a song that topped the youth category and they had other songs. And so yeah, I really wanted to continue with them. But at that stage, I had a pretty angry stepfather who said, "No, you're not doing anything like that. You're going to university." My
Mm-hmm.
mum was pretty cool. But he was like, "No." So I didn't continue playing with them, unfortunately. I just
That's a
hung out with
shame.
them because that was the rule. I wasn't allowed to. But I spent
Oh.
every living moment that where I wasn't at university with them. So I would drive them around. We'd go to gigs. I'd go to their rehearsals, and they got a few new people came in and out of the band. So there was a guitarist called Gosha. She was very cool. She could sing really well, and she wrote really good songs. And Belinda, who ended up being Lash's other guitarist singer,
Yeah.
she was the drummer, and she was a really good drummer. She was just she was cracking and she had this kind of long black hair with blonde streaks in it and very grungy and very cool. And her dad was a musician from like in the 60s in London. And so he was
Oh,
uber cool as
wow.
well. And
Wow.
her brother played in this, a very popular cover band that did lots of gigs around the country and overseas. So she was come from a musical family.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to rehearse at her farm. So they had this kind of house I guess, a building that was just used for rehearsals for the dad, the brother. So for Frank, the dad, he was really lovely, and we had just had music gear set up there. So every Saturday we'd go there and just play for hours and hours and hours. And sometimes I'd jump on and off instruments, but not. I just let them do it because they were writing songs
Oh wow.
constantly, and they were very, very good. And we've got early recordings of those songs. as well because they would save up money and they would go and record them in studios
Wow.
in Perth.
So cool.
Yeah.
Wow. So
So,
still got the
yeah.
originals. That's so sick.
Oh, yeah.
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 Very original early recordings. I mean, you listen to them and they're really cool because the girls would have been listening to Soundgarden and
Oh yeah.
Silverchair and all
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. And it was very of its time, but it was cool. But
Wow, that's
That's awesome.
sick.
they were gigging as well. And so I used to go to their gigs and they were like 14, so their parents had to, and 15, so their parents had to come.
That's insane
Um,
to think about
Wow.
at
yeah.
that
Yeah,
age
I
doing like
know,
and
doing
being that
gigs and all
dedicated.
of
That's
that.
awesome.
Because gigs at like
It was all
bars and
we
stuff,
did.
or is it?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's a
Wow.
different time
Yeah.
in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you
Yeah.
feel kind of just watching it from the
Yeah, because if
sidelines? Was
your
that really
stepdad
hard to
wasn't letting
do?
Yeah,
you, yeah.
yeah. I will see because they were far away. They were thousands of kilometers away. So they couldn't
Yeah.
see what I was doing. So in my mind, I thought as long as I'm not committing to playing in the band, because sometimes they'd have gigs and I'd have to go back home for the holidays,
Yeah.
then it
Right,
was
yeah.
okay. I wasn't. I just loved it. I wasn't jealous
Yeah.
or anything. I felt like I was part of the team anyway, and
That's
they
amazing.
were they were my friends. So it was weird because I was 3 years older, and I wasn't hanging out with any of my university friends at all because to me these girls were much more interesting
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
because
You're on
they
the
were
same
playing
wavelength.
music
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely on the same wavelength. So we wrote some songs together. So that's good. And one of those songs that Michaela and I wrote together while we were babysitting her little brother and sister late at night, we ended
That's
up
so
on the
cute.
album. So
Wow,
That's
that's
awesome.
I know she
awesome.
had this little brother and sister, and she used to babysit them. So I'd come and hang out and we'd just play. We'd just play into the night, and we one of those songs ended up on the album. So
Wow.
it was good. I came back into the loop, I guess, after they'd recorded their album as their band name was Exterior, and they recorded an
Oh.
album under that. Yeah, Exteria, Exterior.
Oh, like that
Wow.
IA. Ooh.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Exterior. Nice. I'm loving all the names now.
I know.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
It was
That's
very
so crazy.
90s. So
Yeah,
they,
that's what
Yeah.
that's
they
like what
recorded
we
an album.
wish things were like now. I like the
know.
one word cool word
I
thing.
I
know.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know,
Damn.
isn't it? Yeah, so cool. And they recorded this album, and I was in the sessions, and it was really really good. And I guess this is where they started playing slightly larger gigs and competitions, and that's where they gained interest from a record company. So this is a couple of people, someone in Perth and someone from the eastern states who have come over and said, we think you're really good, and we'd like to sign you and make a record with you. And it was pretty much at that I got a phone call from them saying, Jack, we're going back in the studio. We've got these people who want to make an album with us. Do you want to come back in the band? And
Wow.
the
Oh.
reason they asked me was because I think the producers thought that Belinda had a sense of appeal up the front. She was quite charismatic and tall, and was singing and playing guitar. So they wanted to pull her out from the drums.
Mm.
And they were
Yeah.
like, "Do you know a drummer?" And they were like, "Yes, we do."
Yes, we
So
have our drummer. Yeah.
um, yeah, so I
Oh.
came in. I just had my appendix out, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd come out of hospital not long after, and I came in and sat and played some songs with them in the studio, and yeah, before you know it, it was just all happening, and I just
Wow.
left everything behind. I just went to uni and said I'm withdrawing and putting it on hold and
Wow.
deferring. So yeah,
Wow. How
Did you
did your stepfather react to that?
Yeah, I guess at
I
that point
didn't I
yeah,
didn't care by that stage, to
Good
be
on
yeah,
honest.
you
you.
got a record
That
label
is
at this
sick.
point like
I know, that's way too exciting, way too cool to
Yeah,
get past that.
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, the family were very excited, I think,
Mm.
by that stage. And, they could see that I'd already been to uni and was doing okay. And so I went back and finished it. So
I
it's
know.
not,
Yeah,
Microbiology
yeah,
here.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I guess
yeah.
I guess it's the idea
yeah,
of it, of the unknown that
yeah,
maybe scares like the older generation, like not knowing where the potential could be and where it could go.
yeah. But that was the good thing about the parents of the girls who were in the band. They
Yeah.
were 100% on board from the
Oh,
start.
yeah.
That's amazing.
And I know, and they were all very different. Obviously, Belinda's family came from, musicians, so they knew what was going on. Jess's family just loved music, so that like they loved music. Their house was just full of music. They had a big stereo. It was always listening to music. So, and Jess was a very good guitarist. I think they just really nurtured that.
Yeah.
And Kyla's parents were very supportive as well. So it was all just, from their end. And I did feel like the odd one out because I felt like my parents should have been supportive because they were much younger and but just different backgrounds,
100%. Yeah, it is different, I think, but sometimes that's what makes you all merge together in that way. It's like without you being that little bit older than them and kind of probably they probably looked at you at some point as like a mentor as well because of that age barrier, but then it's also you get to kind of bounce off of the encouragement that they get from their family, I assume, as well. So it's like everyone helps each other out in that moment.
Forth.
Yeah, it was definitely like that. It was like that, you say, a mentor relationship, and it continued to be that as it went on through its more crazy phases because I was the one who had a driver's license and I was the one who had a phone, so I was the one who was...
It's not wasn't like 14-year-olds with phones like there is now.
It's not like how it is today.
No, so by the time we signed a record deal and we were starting to travel about, it was me who had the phone. So I had these phone bills of like, back then when you didn't have plans, my phone bill was $800 a month, and that was
because you used to have to press for text messages as well. You would have to pay.
Holy
text calls. Every time I was on this long call to the record company discussing something, that'd be like $20.
Oh my God!
So it was crazy, and so I had my license, and so whenever we hired a Tarago to travel around, I was the one who was old enough to drive and to have insurance, so I always drove. So
oh my gosh, that's insane.
It kind of worked out well.
Yeah.
God. Yeah, you really needed that person to be able to be the responsible one, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I enjoyed the role, but mostly because I could see that they had so much potential, and just with such a deep love of music and wanting to make it work. I wish that my career had been different. I wish I had have just gone on to play professionally in a band, but at the same time I'm very, very happy with what I'm doing, and I just could see that I could see that they could take it all the way, whether I was part of it or not.
But I think that you being part of it is also like part of, you were there from actually the very fundamental beginning, and I think it's really I've noticed you're talking about it so separate, but it is so still together in a way. You're still so part of that.
For sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's vivid memories and very exciting time. I just can still remember the feeling of walking up those stairs and hearing them play in that room behind the closed door and thinking that's something special.
What a life-changing moment for you.
It was. It really was a life-changing moment.
Because if you didn't walk up at that time when they were in there singing, like, who knows where your life would have taken you.
Also want to say that, like, how big of you as well, because it's so simple, especially when you're like vulnerable age of like 17, so easy to get caught up in like in competitiveness or in this is our spot or this is our area or this is you can't, it's easy to disregard the talent and the vision when you're caught up in yourself, and it just shows how selfless you were in that moment and how like supporting of other women you are and supporting of other artists that you are. It's really cool to hear a story where it's just purely you just wanting the best. Wanting the best for music and wanting the best for them, which is awesome.
I would hope that's what most musicians would do, who
you
genuinely
would hope so.
Loved music and wanted to see someone succeed. I think we should always be supporting each other. I think that's absolutely critical in the music industry.
100%. As a creative, I think it's so important to like just be inspired by each other rather than feel this need to compete.
To be to up each other.
But to be able to have done that when you're at such a vulnerable age as well is really, really big of you. Very inspiring.
Well, thanks.
Oh, that's okay.
So tell us about Take Me Away. Like, that is such an iconic song, and it obviously was featured in Freaky Friday, which blows my insane.
Yes.
Tell us about that and how that happened.
It's good. Yeah, so like I said, the girls had been writing songs for a long time. So they're very good at writing songs and catchy songs as well. The thing was that when they got picked up by this record label, the record label immediately, obviously, I don't know, I'm not in their heads, so I don't know, but they obviously saw an opportunity to make and market something that was going to be successful. And part of that was taking the girls and taking their songs and saying, what can we do with these to make them more commercially viable? Can we write songs with you? And this was me just getting my head around at the time that people do actually co-write songs with bands. You know, in my mind, I
Yeah.
was like, oh no, bands just write their own songs.
Yeah.
I kind of had this vague idea that sometimes bands wrote songs for other bands and then they would play those songs. Like the Beatles wrote a song for the Rolling Stones. I knew that, but I
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
know about this. Producers could write songs for bands. So I was away. This was at the very start when I'd only just kind of re-engaged. And they had already been hanging out with these producers and they had already started co-writing with them. So basically they were sat in a room with their instruments and they had these very talented and experienced songwriters in the room with them writing songs. And they came out, the two songs that they came out with were Take Me Away and Beauty Queen, which were the first
Wow,
two
yeah.
singles off the album. So
Yeah.
super like impressive, high pop, you know, grungy songs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very
And
garage
that,
band.
and
Yeah, for sure.
yep. So I did not have any part in actually writing those songs. I came in and they were let tracks were laid down with their vocals and they had already written them. And my mind was just blown. I was like, this is incredible. These are incredible songs. And so the girls were like, yeah, it's pretty exciting. Hey, and they were just
You're just like,
so
what?
cool and
Oh
crazy
my
about it. And,
God.
you know, I know. And then the way Michaela was singing Take Me Away, just that attitude, that was her. She
Yeah.
had done that from the very start, that gnarly attitude that she has in that song. That's how she sounded when I came up the stairs that day and was
Yeah. Oh,
Wow.
I
singing.
love that. That's
That
exactly what draws
Yes.
you to the song.
Yeah. Especially
Yeah.
the way she's like,
that just
yeah. Like
epitomizes
it's
the
so
band. You know,
good. Oh, I
she
love
just
that.
she had the attitude, she had the sound. And so I really liked it because it suited the band, but just this power was coming out of the speakers. And so that the recording process for those two songs was quite intense. It was done over many months in many different studios to get the sound just right.
Wow.
And so there was a lot of layering of backing vocals. So they did very complex, you know, 16 track backing vocals, and the guitars in Take Me Away were made to sound really thick. If you
Yeah, they
notice, like
do.
there's this wall of sound that comes out, yeah, and they've spent a lot of time getting all of that right, and that was a lot of that was down to, you know, the great producing from Andrew Clipple and Barry Palmer, but also Andy Baldwin, who was doing a lot of the work in the background with on the computer, kind of making sounds
Yeah.
Yeah.
sound exciting and big. But yeah, it was they were recorded. Well, that song was recorded over months and in different studios to get it right
Wow.
because and we've actually got, you know, CDs of all the different layers, so the versions, so the first version and then the
Wow.
second and the third and the fourth, and every time it came back to us it would be, you know, a little bit bigger and a little bit more exciting, but the core elements were always there from the start, which I think is the guitars and the colors vocals.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just
The
Yeah. Yeah, you
yeah.
don't realize
yeah,
as a
yeah.
consumer, as someone that's just listening to the song, how much time and effort goes into making
Yeah.
these
Yeah,
songs.
a lot of time and effort went into that song, and you know, so by the time we heard the version that came back from the US when it was mastered, we were super excited because it was
Wow.
it was fat and polished, and you know, it had been apparently when they were working on it in the studio in the US, the record company came back to us and said, "Oh, Bono from U2 was in the studio when they were mastering it, and he said he really liked it."
Oh my god! Oh, you don't even
Like,
understand. I'm obsessed with Bono, so that
Oh my god.
I would have
oh
honestly
God,
fainted if I
no.
was you guys.
Oh my god.
Yep,
That's insane.
yep.
That is
So
huge.
that was yeah, I know that was the big, you know, and then we just thought, oh, this is really happening. And I think the next big thing was when we first heard it on the radio in the
Yeah.
car, and that was just yeah, mind blowing. I can't actually remember the first time we heard it. I do remember in Sydney going over the Piermont Bridge. We were all in the car and it came on, and I don't know if that was the first time. I can't remember, but it was definitely incredible
Yeah.
to hear it on the radio because it sounded so good on the radio.
Yeah.
Just really, it was made that they mastered it so that it sounded really good on the radio.
Yeah.
Wow. I can
So
only
that was-
imagine
that
hearing
was very
your own
exciting as
song
well.
on the radio and what
I
that
know.
would actually be
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, imagine just driving and being like,
And you come up.
yeah.
Like, that's
Wait,
so weird.
when you guys
Yeah.
listened to it for the first time, were you aware of what time it was going to be playing and stuff? Did you listen to
No.
it? No, so you was just you had to
No.
be
That's
listening.
so much better.
I like that a lot too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was, and then because it was the most added song to radio in its first week of release at
Oh
the time
my
in the history
God.
of radio, so it was added
Wow.
to that many radio stations.
Oh, wow.
It was played a lot, so you could pretty much just be out and you'd hear it,
And you can't get away from it at that
when
point.
we were living in Sydney. No, and I had a job delivering pizzas at night,
Nice.
and I used to hear it on the radio
That is
while I
crazy.
was doing that. So
How surreal is that? Like, that would
You're
be
delivering
insane.
pizzas and your song
Yeah,
is
you're
on
just
the
like,
radio.
oh, yep, that's me.
That's so crazy.
Oh my God, that's insane.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
so how did the
So
song
it was
end
very,
up on
very
Freaky
good.
Friday?
Oh yeah, they were.
Well, that was not done with our knowledge. I'm pretty
Oh,
sure there's a lot
really?
of people that no. Well, we knew once they had decided, but all that would have been negotiated
Wow.
by the record label and
yeah.
stuff.
behind the scenes with the record company. Yeah, yeah. So we just got this phone call saying they'd like to use your song in this new movie that they're making, and we were like, "Oh, great! That's so
Yeah.
exciting!"
Oh my
And
God, that's so cool.
they said
And what an
you'll be able
iconic
to fly
movie.
over and play at the premiere, and we were like,
Oh my
wow,
God.
that's great!" Yeah, but we didn't in the end, which we
okay.
felt really disappointed about.
Mm.
We were spun some line about Disney had run out of budget, which I probably believe now that we're dealing with Disney and we know we're dealing
know
with them
what
again because they're going to release Freakier Friday, which is
Yeah.
the
Oh my
sequel.
gosh.
And so in dealing with them again, we know a lot more about the budgets and
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah,
Are you guys flying out this
I
time?
know.
what we
We'll have
what we asked them, we said this time we were so disappointed last time that what we would like is an invitation to the premiere.
Yeah, at the very least.
Yeah.
They said
So you
they said
should.
we can't fly you out. They
Ah,
said we don't know if we're going to have a
bullshit.
premiere, but they
Oh,
said
okay.
but if we do, you're invited.
That's
Okay.
good. That's a good invite.
We're gonna
come on.
we're
We
gonna
don't know.
we're gonna hold them to that.
Yeah, I would. If they don't know if they're gonna have a premiere,
Yeah,
it's Lindsay Lohan's
Disney.
comeback.
It's
Like,
Lindsay
no,
Lohan.
no.
I'm
Oh
pretty
my
sure from the media so far, from the responses that they've had so far as a team, Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis, it's quite exciting. So I think they will.
Yeah.
I
It's
think
super
it's been
exciting.
quite positive feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
honestly, I've been
a
that
big
excited. I've been that excited for it.
Yeah.
No, that's incredible. I feel like that would have
Yeah.
been it,
Yeah.
like finding out that it's going to be part of a movie is one thing, and then finding out how big of a part in a movie it is
Yeah.
another thing. I feel like because like I guess until you guys watched the movie, did you know it was going to be like the main
No.
song? Yeah, that
No.
would have been
We had
insane.
not really, no.
Yeah.
We didn't even hear the recorded version that we didn't know that they were going to re-record it. And then we didn't know they were going to put a guitar solo in it. I mean, so all this stuff is fine. I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
We went to the cinemas. We watched it. It was super fun. We
That's
laughed
so surreal.
about
Yeah.
how it sounded. And we laughed about the guitar solo in it because, we were just like, oh, that's weird. But
It doesn't
it's so
match it at
essential.
all. Yeah.
No, it's so essential for the movie because the movie needs it because Jamie Lee Curtis comes out and plays that big solo at
Yes.
the end
Yeah.
as the teenager, and it works. So yeah, it was strange, and I forgot that they didn't say they didn't say the shit word in the film at all. So
Yeah.
Oh,
when
Yeah.
when they asked, we said, oh, why can you please use our version to promote the movie? They were like, well, we just need a version that's not got that word in it. And we said,
clean version.
They said because it's Disney, and I was like,
it's
okay,
PG at the end of the day. It's PG.
clean version. So Jess got the song up on her because Jess is a music producer, so she got it up and just bleeped out the same old.
Yeah.
It goes just silence never ends, and
Yeah.
so they were happy with that.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Oh my God.
Wow, that's sick.
That would have been insane.
Yeah.
I really, so in terms of even obviously in that kind of direction, do you guys get a royalty or like, obviously I hope you guys get a good amount of,
Yeah.
of
We
like
do, but
something
I mean,
from
this
that.
is the other thing is that when we were signed, the deal that was negotiated with us and the producers wasn't great. And looking back on it, we're all, a little bit disappointed. So the songwriting credit that we have on that is not very large. It's quite small. If we had the full credit or if we had a bit more, we'd make a lot more money. But we're
Yeah,
not
of course.
complaining, let's just say that the producers are making a lot more money off it
That's
than we are.
ridiculous.
Which is what we've heard a lot of times.
Yeah.
The co-songwriters, and to be fair, they did co-write the song. They are very experienced. I would never deny someone. They've worked their whole careers to do that as their jobs now. So fair enough. But at the same time, we do feel a bit duped.
At the end of the day, it's
We
your
were the
song,
ones that were
it's your
just thrown
baby.
out there and expected to
Yeah.
behave. And we were the ones that built up the brand of Lash. We were the ones that built up the sound and had written songs for a long time. And then that was kind of just taken over, and it is what it is. We're very grateful for having had the experience, but now when we comes to things like this and we see that 5 times as much money as us or something, and
Wow.
That's
it
actually
hurts
crazy.
a bit, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah, well, the fact
Yeah.
is you guys still made an amazing song and it got the recognition that it deserved, and it's because of you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I think
yeah,
as well,
I know,
the whole the aesthetic was created by them as
Yeah,
well. Like,
exactly.
like the actual producing team and the co-writers wouldn't have had anything to go off of if it had not been for the original original
exactly.
grunge and that vibe and look. But yeah, it is a bit
Yeah,
disappointing. You hear a lot of stories,
absolutely.
a lot of stories in media, especially nowadays, that it's a little bit less taboo to discuss, but a lot about how that back behind the scenes sort of stuff works in media, and it's quite disappointing.
Yeah, that's right. I think there's a story to tell there for us, but at the same time, we're not really vindictive people. I just would like the story to be told so that people were aware of it. And I actually, last month I drove to Glasgow, which is a few hours away from here. I'm in Scotland, to see G Flip play because I had I'd never seen them play before. So I drove across and I got the ticket whereby I could have a chat to them beforehand. And it was interesting because I asked them about how they got signed, and there was just so much they had so much control over what they did because they knew what they wanted, right?
Yeah.
And I just admired that so much. I heard this story and I just thought, I wish that we had been like that, but it's a different time.
It was a different time, the 90s.
It's spoken about so much more, where I think when people go into it now, hopefully they have enough boundaries to put into place to make sure that they get what they deserve in that scenario. Yeah. But unfortunately, in that period of time, especially when you guys were in your realm of it, it was still that taboo. It was still this whole, like, look at what's happening now with like the whole Diddy thing and stuff like that. It's still such a hidden world and a hidden, like, music in that way was.
Oh yeah.
That was its prime time of things being a little bit more corrupt. Hidden. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. There's so much going on, and I mean, we heard a lot of stories when we were touring about and stuff. But I think one of the main things is just we felt that the male bands, they just got treated a bit differently to us in that they just got a lot more freedom to be who they were, and they could dress as they wanted. They didn't get told off for their body image or whereas we were constantly being told to do to wear certain things or look a certain way and go to the gym and lose weight, and that was not ideal either.
Oh my God, yeah, that's not.
Man, it's hard. It's just hard to be a woman sometimes, man.
It really not sometimes in this world.
Like it's just insane that we don't get the same treatment. It's really insane,
especially in that period of time, like late 90s, early 2000s. Like even in the time Freaky Friday came out, for example, like the expectations of what a woman should look like, how a woman should act, how a woman should behave were still, it wasn't like how it was in the 50s, but it definitely was completely different to how it is now. Like the ideal stereotype of what every woman should be like was completely unattainable for majority of women. So that would be really, really hard.
Yeah.
And especially for the other, like at that point in time, the other girls in your band were much
I
younger.
know.
So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
so
Much younger, and
intense.
it really messed with everyone's head. It really did. You know, we were
Yeah,
not just going to rehearsals every day and living off not much money, but we were also being told, watch what you eat and make sure you're going to the gym this many times a week. And we were just like, "Ooh, this is,"
nah.
and no one was overweight. It was just about shaping the image, and
Yeah.
um, yeah, you can see how that just wouldn't really float now. I mean, I'm sure it
Yeah,
does in some situations. People are told. You hear the pressures of still have how women feel like they have to be seen. I just read the other day Chapel Roan saying it doesn't matter how toned you are, it doesn't matter what you look like. You're always self-conscious. You're always worried about what people are going to think of you. And most artists do look fantastic on the stage because they want to look good, but they're probably also feeling this pressure that female
of
artists
course. I do love that Chapel Roan discusses that a
of.
lot. Chapel Roan is
Yeah.
I think, a really
Mm.
cool influence in music today in the way that she's
Mm.
very open about everything she's discussing all the
Yeah.
time.
I listen a lot to what she says, and I can see that, I can see she's still young,
Yeah,
but
Yeah,
at the
of
same
course.
time, she's touching on a lot of very important things
yeah, I think
at an
so.
early stage in her career. And I think good on her because she actually has the power to make a big difference at the moment, the
Oh,
capacity to make a
100%.
big difference.
One of the questions we like to ask all of our guests is to list out 3 songs that they feel a personal connection to and the story behind why. We would love to hear your choices because you sound like you're very into music like we are, so we're excited.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have a lot of songs that are very important to me. So I would say that at that time that I was, Lash was kind of coming all together, and it was hard for me because I wasn't involved at the time, but I really desperately wanted to be at the very start. It was Radiohead that I was listening to the most, and the song "No Surprises." I
Wow.
put it on now, and I still get a bit tearful because
Oh.
I remember I was working alone on the mines with my dad because we got it. You used to be able to get a job on the mines for 3 months during the uni
Oh,
holidays,
Oh
wow.
my god,
and
that'd be
and
so good.
it would pay really well. And I spent a lot of time on my own in a ute, driving around sampling salt lakes, and so I would listen to music a lot. And it was a time where I could reflect a lot on the band and how they were doing really well and things were going well for them. And this is before I kind of rejoined. And so that used to make me pretty sad at the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Sorry, my daughter's just interrupting me
That's
No,
okay.
are
We
you
can barely hear her, so
serious?
it's fine. She's
at the
more
moment.
Totally
than
Sorry.
welcome to
fine.
interrupt.
Okay, up you get. I'm so sorry
No, don't
Are
be
you
sorry at
kidding?
all.
Please don't be sorry. Please don't. I know exactly what it's like.
Okay.
Please don't be sorry.
I think my wife is on a work call as well, so we're both juggling
That's
the
okay.
kids this morning.
That's totally
That's
fine.
All
fine.
right. Another song that's really important to me is "Don't Leave Me This Way" by the Communards. And
Ooh.
that
Oh.
that is that's my favorite song of all time. And I can't actually pinpoint why. It's something about the feel, the energy, the sound, and obviously the context of the song. I'm a gay woman, and so it means a lot to me when I hear, songs that are important, I guess, within my people.
Yeah, your community, yeah.
But at the time, yeah, so after Lash had kind of disbanded and I was in another band and called the Pray Tells, and that fell through as well because I just had to get on and start my PhD, and so I moved from Perth to Melbourne, and it was a tough time because my life at home at that time wasn't great. It was quite
Mm.
hard, but I used to ride to and from work and I'd listen to music. I mean, I was listening to lots of things at the time, and my favorite bands like OMD and Tears for
Oh,
Fears, and
yes.
Oh,
I'm,
love
I'm
Tears
very
for
I'm
Fears.
much a child of the 80s, so I was listening to those. But the Communards, "Don't Leave Me This Way," didn't matter how bad my day was. I used to love my work, so didn't matter how bad my day was at home, and I put that on, and that would just bring me back to life, and it would remind me that I love music, that maybe one day I'll get to play again. Maybe life will pick up and be a bit better in my personal life, which it has, and it is, which is really
Oh,
Yes.
great.
that's wonderful.
And my wife loves that song too. So we listen to it now together. And every time it comes on, we just, start to
Oh, I
dance. And
love that.
Yes.
so,
Oh, I
yeah.
love that so, so much. Oh, I love music that does that. Like, it doesn't matter what it is about the song. Sometimes it's an
just
all
works.
encompassing
Yeah, it
thing.
just
Yeah.
works.
Yeah, yeah. And finally, I would say when I was growing up, I was a big fan of Roy Orbison. And so when he
Oh.
released, I was only 10, so I didn't know all of his early stuff. But when they released You Got It, I
Mhm.
was just like, I'm in love with this man. I just love this man is the best and brilliant. So 10 years old, I'd started making drum kits in my bedroom out of, you know, ice cream cartons and putting like, you know, baking paper over the top with rice inside to make them
Oh my
sound like
God,
drums.
I love
And I was learning
Such
that.
a cool
guitar.
idea.
Yeah, but listening to that was a huge inspiration because this massive band, and little did I know that there were people like Jeff Lynne in the band, and
Yeah.
he was playing with George Harrison
I
and
know.
Tom
Yeah.
Petty and all these guys.
Yeah.
Now I know that, but at the time I was completely oblivious, but I knew the music was good, and so hugely inspirational at the time. And still to this day, just really drove me to pursue my love of music, I would say. So
I
yeah,
love
they're
that so
they're three
much.
songs that are really important to me. Yeah.
Great choices. It's interesting you mentioned
Wonderful
Radiohead
choices.
because I would say that we've had Radiohead pop up more than any
Mm,
other.
Yeah, it's a
yeah.
very
It's always
popular
popped up,
choice. Yeah.
and it's not something that I ever expect every single time. And every time I'm like,
Right.
actually, it makes so
Yeah.
much sense.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
very formative at the time. We'd listen to OK Computer and the bands on our tour, when we were in the Tarago driving for a long time. And I think it just resonated with the whole group. It was kind of moody and broody, but also very clever musically.
yeah,
And I always thought of them as being quite a humble band, and I think we quite like that about
yeah,
bands that are like that as well. So clever, interesting, humble, and brilliant. So
yeah.
yeah.
I think all of your
Mm,
choices were truly brilliant.
Yeah.
I love them all. Especially Roy
thanks.
Orbison. I have it's interesting because I don't know what it was about him as well. I used to play SingStar with my mum all the time, and she
Yeah,
was obsessed with listening to Pretty Woman by Roy. And I would
yeah.
sing, and so like, and something about his voice in particular. There's just
Oh.
I know.
it
I know.
makes like everything inside of my body
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
rumble in
like
like a perfect way.
resonate. I know.
Yes,
Yes,
Yeah.
and
yes,
it's
you're so
just
right.
purely from
Yeah.
the frequency of sound. Maybe I don't know
Mm,
what it is, but and I would have been only like 8 years old listening to that with
yeah,
mum, and knowing
yeah,
like what you said, like knowing that this is actually good music. This is actually this
yeah,
a sound of a
yeah,
true singer.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's wonderful.
yeah, yeah. I know. Yeah, I'm glad you say that too.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think he's honestly
Yeah,
one of the absolute greatest.
Oh, he is
yeah,
though.
Yeah.
yeah. Me too. Like incredible. If I sometimes I just go through a day where I'll just listen to tons of Roy Orbison songs,
Oh,
and it will
I
just make me
love
really
that.
happy and sad, and yeah,
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 same. Traveling Wilburys are like one of my favorite bands
yeah.
ever, obviously because it's all
Oh,
of them.
good.
But
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've always said that End of the Line is like my funeral song,
yeah.
as depressing as that sounds. But every time I watch them,
No, but that's such
yeah,
a great
it's a good
song.
song for it. But
Such
every
a good song for your
That's a,
funeral.
I
That is,
know, it's a perfect
I
song for
really
it.
like that.
feel
That's
free.
genius.
Thank you. And I just love the video clip because it's got a
Mm.
little like a little rocking chair to replace Roy because he had
Yeah,
already passed by that
yeah,
point.
because he'd
Yeah.
already gone. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Aw.
And I just
mm.
it's honestly
So
one of my
sad.
favorite songs of all time. So I got
Yeah.
very as soon as you mentioned Roy, I got very excited. I could talk about it all day.
Roy's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank
No,
you, Elle.
that's okay. I wanted to quickly touch on your career because how does it feel going from you're a rock star to a microbiologist, like that, doing your PhD, and how did that feel going back and doing that
Yeah.
after all of that?
Yeah, look, it was fine. I was ready. I needed to do something. I needed to get my brain working again, and everything
Yeah,
had gotten a bit tense, and I think it was time to step away. But at the same time, I just kept playing. Like Belinda had a band. Belinda from Lash had a band called the Silver Scene, and I recorded and played with her. So she's got
awesome.
music online. And I just joined another band called the Praytels and gigged a lot. And, we won a lot of competitions and played at big festival, and that was great. So I was still playing and just at the same time ticking away with my studies and doing really well. I just loved the study was going really well, so I was getting good marks. So that was very compelling to keep going. And the hard bit was moving over east and moving away from all of my music friends. But you know what? Two of them moved over, and so we still kind of caught up. And before you know it, life moves on. I did really well in my PhD, and that was very satisfying. But I also had this story to tell about what I'd done before, and
I
people
love
used to love
that.
that. So
You lived.
people would ask about the band, and they would really like it, and they get really excited about it. And so I had this great story that I could hold on to. So it never felt like I was torn away from it.
Yeah. I really love that. You kind of live the best of both worlds.
Yeah, literally very
That's
Hannah
right.
Montana
I
of
feel
you.
like I
Yeah.
have. Yeah. So then I met my wife, who I'm with now, and that was just such a, you know, just life-changing, made everything right after everything had been hard. And we very quickly had two little kids, and our life has been
How
pretty
gorgeous.
chaotic.
Now
But
it's
all
chaotic.
this stuff with Freaky Friday has come back up, and where the band are talking to each other, and that's really exciting too. So we do talk about, could we have a reunion or something like that.
Yes.
But we will get there. We'll see how it goes.
Oh,
One day,
how
I would-
exciting. I hope
Please
so.
let us know what
Yeah,
if once
I know.
you, well, we'll be
Yeah.
watching anyway
We
to
will.
make
Yeah,
sure.
we'll be there.
Yeah,
We'll be there
absolutely.
for
We
it.
will, for sure. It's
No, I love
exciting
that.
times.
I think I like that you, obviously they're two ends of a spectrum of what the average person would think are types of career paths, right? And I absolutely love that you're utilizing two different sides of your brain, and you continue to use both of them throughout, because I see a lot of people, like we're now about to turn 30 now, but a lot of people that I'm friends with that have gone to university, and they've felt the need to choose between one lifestyle and the other.
Yeah.
And so like they've found themselves burnt out. And I feel like that the key to not being burnt out in that way is to do what you were doing, and to still embrace that passion you had, while at the same time embracing the study and the passion you have towards what you're learning as well.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, a lot of people feel the need to just,
It's one or the other.
Yeah.
Red pill, blue pill.
Yeah, no,
yeah,
you
exactly.
can
You can't, life has to
definitely-
be filled, like
Yeah.
just filled with everything.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh dear. It's also you have little children; they just get into everything.
That's so right. But it's awesome though.
Well, we won't take too much more of your time up, but we have one last question.
Yeah.
If you could go back in time and speak to yourself at a different age, what is something you would like to say to yourself, and what age would you go back to?
That is a very interesting question. I would go back to that point at where Lash disbanded, and I would tell myself to just stay away from toxic people and to go and live my life, like just have fun and be around good people and do the things you love doing. And at that stage, I probably would have taken up music a little bit more in a healthy environment, as well as being able to do my studies.
Yeah.
And as it was, I joined another band while I was in a relationship that wasn't good, and that meant that I felt very limited and restricted, and not just for a little short period of time, a very long period of time, like over 10 years.
Wow.
So it was hard. It was hard. And that was 10 years of my life, from the age of 24 through to my mid-30s.
Wow.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
hard.
That would be very difficult.
So yeah, I would just say be careful of the choices that you're making around that age, vulnerable age, early
It is a
20s.
vulnerable
You think
age.
you got everything together, but you're still young and you're still learning. So don't put all your trust in one person or one thing at that time. Just make sure that you're talking to the people that you really do trust, so that you can make good choices. Yeah.
I would agree with that 100%. It's interesting to think that, like, once you've hit the mid-20s, it's very easy to think that, oh, yep, I've got...
Yeah,
like,
I've made it. It's
I
fine.
was so naive when I was in my early 20s. Like, now I have it. And, like, and then you can see it sometimes I know the people that we know as well, that, like, sometimes people will find someone else in their path that might not be the most... best influence into their life, but and that person usually is someone that can kind of shun them away from the rest of reality. And it sometimes it takes years to be able to see past that, because it's very easy to think that I'm already an adult, I already know what choices I'm making, but we all have to be open-minded to not knowing everything and being susceptible to stuff too.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And your journey will be even more exciting in your 30s and 40s, I can guarantee.
Oh, I'm glad to
Life
hear
gets
that.
better.
Exciting.
You know, I have actually heard that each decade that you walk into gets better and better. I have
Yeah,
actually heard
I
that.
would I would agree with that so far. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Then I can't wait to be in my 30s. I can't wait for all of that. To watch my kid become a person as well. Like
Yeah.
that, I find that very exciting. And it's so great that you've been able to touch all these different aspects of life.
Yeah.
You have your family, you have a beautiful wife, you've been a rock star, you have an amazing career.
I know.
Like that is
it's all good. It's all
extremely
happening.
amazing.
I live in a beautiful part of the world, and
I know. I was gonna say.
Oh my
I'm like,
God,
don't forget
I
she lives in
know.
Scotland, man.
I
Yeah.
know. Oh my God. One day I would love to do that. But, you are such an inspiration for your children. You get to show your children that,
I hope so.
they can do everything that they want and be whoever they want to be.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what
big
we do.
important.
And every morning when we get in the car and we put the music on that they want, and at the moment their favorite is Bohemian Like You by the Dandy Warhols. They
I
call
love
it
it.
the cool song.
I love that you're playing that in the car for them.
They love it. They know who people are. They know Chapel Roan, and that she's important at the moment.
Yeah.
They know the good stuff. But they love other things. They love Taylor Swift, and I'm like, that's good. Just love the women doing the things that they do best, and
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. It makes you so proud when they love what you love. My son this morning was like, "Mummy, play Octopus's Garden." And I'm like,
Oh my
I've
God,
never
they
been
love that
more
one
proud
too.
of you, son.
Yeah.
Never been
Never
more
been
proud.
Yeah, they asked for that one too, and I'm like, yes,
I know. What I am doing is working.
yeah,
It
is
definitely
working.
works. Well, my parents did that to me, and it definitely worked. Like
Yes.
my pure love of music is because my dad raised me really well on his music.
Yeah,
So
that's so important.
So me and Ella are just sitting
okay.
here at the moment, and
Yes.
we're realizing like it might be the ADHD, but
It might be.
I can talk about something like 5 seconds ago
Yeah.
and forget the entire conversation.
It's actually
My brain
rough.
right now feels like it's like we were in a conversation not even 10 minutes ago.
Like less, like 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, 2 minutes ago, and my mind is just like, whoop, it's all gone.
Nah, so Elle asked me, like, what were we saying just 2 minutes ago? Like,
Yeah.
what were we saying just before this? And I was like, I have no fucking idea.
Yeah,
It's gone.
it's gone. I
It's
can't
actually
even reach
gone.
it. It's not even there.
Nah. I remember where we started. I just don't remember, like, that specific part that you asked me about. But I wonder if you had asked me, how did we start that conversation? How did we start it? How did it begin?
Oh no, I know.
I
how.
feel like I would have forgotten.
Oh, really?
Like,
Oh yeah, because it's whenever
'cause
you're
it's like-
confronted with the question,
yeah,
that's
that's what
when
I'm
it goes.
saying. Because you asked me, it's like, no, gone. I can't. Like I felt like I remembered before you asked me, and then you asked me, and it's gone.
See, that's one thing about having ADHD and having ADHD medication that I struggle with is that medication does not help you remember things.
No.
Like my memory, it's crazy having such insanely good memory.
Yeah.
Like long term.
Yeah.
But my short term memory is basically
it's actually
Dory.
horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically Dory.
Yeah.
I like, and it's quite concerning.
Yeah. We are like Drew Barrymore
In what way?
from 50 First Dates.
Oh,
We go to sleep and we wake up. We just don't remember what happened in the last 24 hours.
speaking of, I saw apparently there's this chick on TikTok that is a real life 50 First Dates.
Really?
Yeah, like she had some accident. I don't know the full details, but I quickly watched a small thingy the other day that she's like, her partner or whatever like makes a video for her every day, and that's how she remembers
Stop.
everything. Yeah.
Wow.
I know, I'm curious. I need to look
crazy.
into it again a bit more. I've tried to be not on TikTok as much, but when I have gone on, I've found random stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, I should probably get into this, but I never get into anything anymore because I'm trying not to be on it. But how interesting.
That is very interesting.
And I think she's like documenting it on TikTok. Can you imagine if that was like, you woke up, like there's that other movie with Rachel McAdams and Channing Tatum.
Oh, yeah. Was
The-
she,
The Vow?
What's it called?
The Vow.
No, not the movie. Amnesia.
Amnesia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she gets amnesia. I have amnesia.
That's why I was like, amnesia. Yeah. But can you imagine just genuinely having amnesia? Or like just having a
would
memory
be
loss in that
fucked.
way?
That would be.
It's
fucking
terrifying to
crazy.
me.
I am trying to. 50 First Dates is a great movie, right? And it's, if you're watching it lightly, it's like ha 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 ha. Like it's sweet, it's romantic, it's funny. But my husband cannot watch the movie because he finds it way too sad.
Really?
He finds it just too sad. He can't enjoy it because the idea of her forgetting Adam Sandler every night, it depresses him too much.
Aww.
Yeah, he can't enjoy it.
From the perspective of Adam Sandler?
Yeah, like
Aw.
Keith, I know him and I tend to do this, and I know you do it, but does the whole world do it? I don't know. We tend to put ourselves in the shoes of the main character. He puts himself in Adam Sandler's shoes, and he thinks like, what if I woke up and didn't remember him?
Yeah.
And then he can't deal with that thought. So he can't watch the movie. He struggles with it. It's not, if we want to watch a comedy and I say, oh, can we watch 50 First Dates? I haven't watched that in years. He'll be like, can we watch something less depressing? I'm like, damn, it's such a good movie. But I understand.
Like, what about Click? Like, and I'm like, oh, that's so depressing.
But I understand where he's coming from. But the actual idea of it is extremely sad.
It is very sad. I think that's why the vow gets me as well, when because she just, at least in 50 First Dates, she forgets every single day, right? Where amnesia or forgetting and then remembering every day after that.
Yeah.
Like starting fresh. I
you
find
don't
that
know who you are. You don't know.
You have to try rediscover everything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the person that you just built a life with every single day, it's not like you can play them a video every morning to remember. Like, it's not like, I guess in 50 First Dates, if they get into a fight, she doesn't remember it the next day. And so, like, it can be a fresh start for both.
Yeah.
Where, like, in the vow, for example, with the amnesia thing, like, if they have a fight, she's like, well, I don't really have an attachment to you anyway because you're someone I dated when I don't have memory. So
Yeah.
I'm bowing out. It's actually really, really sad.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. You have to try and somehow get that person to fall in love with you all over again.
Yeah.
Based on different experiences and different.
Yeah. And
You
those
know?
memories you once had are not the same that they had at all.
And then it begs the question, like, if you met your spouse now and they are the person they are now, would you still fall in love with them like how you did how many years ago?
Ooh, I like that question. That is very interesting because I think for a lot of people, there is an element of the comfortability of what you've always known to be a small element as to why you're still with that same person.
Yeah, for sure.
Same friends as well, not just for partners. I think for friends, it's a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
You just, wow, I really, because people evolve, people change in a relation, like as individuals.
Yeah.
And so, like, to meet that person from scratch again at that new age.
Yeah.
And that,
at that point in their life, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting.
Very interesting.
A question to ponder, my friends.
Yeah.
A question to ponder. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
We are so just happy that we are doing this.
Yeah, we're really happy.
Yeah,
we're like,
this
just
makes
feeling,
us feel good.
It makes me feel so much joy inside.
Yes.
And I just, like I know that this episode was all about nostalgia and stuff, and that including who we interviewed today. But I just, it's such a full circle moment for me of like, wow, I'm so excited. Like a song that I used to listen to all the time from a movie I've watched 100,000 times. And I get to like do something where I get to just talk to someone that had such a big impact in my life in that way.
Of course, yep.
So cool.
Yep, it was really awesome. It was an awesome experience. And we're just so grateful. Always so grateful that you guys are listening, that we get to talk to the people that we get to talk to, and Elle and I get to work together and just have fun. We're just so grateful.
Super grateful. It actually, I always say to Elle, like, I might not be rich because I don't have no money, but I feel rich in life.
I hear that.
Yeah.
I hear that, Elle. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. 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 Bye-bye.